Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a bit different, but I wanted to try something new. Here are my favorite Bloxburg building tips that I follow quite a bit when it comes to building in Bloxburg. Tip number 1, add depth. Depth is very important when it comes to making your build look realistic, because if you look at a house in real life, you don't really see them being flat. They usually have some walls brought forwards. Some ways you could do this in Bloxburg is, again, bringing forward walls, maybe using different roofs, or adding some fences like I am here. Tip number 2, add landscaping. Again, landscaping is very important to the realistic factor. You don't really see a house without any plants in front of it. It is something very commonly found at your average house. Adding just a few simple plants and some dirt can really come a long way when you are trying to add to the realism factor of a build. Tip number 3, add pillars and use wall trims. Before I start this tip, here is one way you can do it without advanced placing. You first put down the pillars, and then you would put a wall in between just like this. When you do add pillars and wall trims, it again adds to that depth that you would want to make your house look realistic. Some of the coolest houses I see almost 100% of the time, have pillars at the edges of walls and use some wall trims on the outside. It just makes it look so much more nice, and it frames the house really well. Tip number 4, use appropriate sized windows and doors. I think the right size door is something that might not be completely necessary, but makes the house just look nicer. See, as you can see here, I had a door that was the exact size of the wall, and I changed it to one that was smaller, and it just made the house look so much better and more realistic, because you don't really see that in a normal house. If your windows are too small, you can add curtains to this, or not curtains, but shutters, and curtains on the inside, just to make it take up more space on the wall, and again, then it doesn't look so awkward. Tip number 5, use materials and color. When it comes to building, it is super important to use a color scheme and a few materials. You want to use a texture for your floor like you would have in real life. For example, like some wood. Don't just leave it as plastic, or maybe striped flooring would not be the best, unless you have striped flooring in your house. That's pretty cool. I mean, giving some variety to your textures goes a long way too. For example, making a wall brick, maybe instead of just having all the walls the same, just having a little bit of the variety makes it look a lot nicer. Here's an example of a plant uncolored versus colored, and you could just see how it makes so much of a difference when you color something. Tip number 6, details. What I mean by details is adding a few plants, maybe like a TV, a fireplace, little things like books on your counter, or little like a cup of spoons that you see in the decorations category. Just adding those little tiny things to make your house look like it would in real life, just to make it look nicer. It adds so much. I do it all the time. I always add plants to my build. I fill up room with stuff like that, and it always makes the house look 10 times better than it did before. Tip 7, use structural items and add unique factors. Using structural items to add unique factors really makes your build stand out. I notice a lot of the popular creators usually add or use the structural items to create something unique in their build. For example, for Roblox, he will add structural items to make a table look different, and that's unique. Here I'm adding a little shelf next to the bathtub, which is kind of unique, I guess, because I've never seen it done before. Just doing something unique, maybe with the structural items, maybe with plants, maybe with something else, just makes it look so much cooler because it might not be something they've seen in a build before. It just makes your build stand out. Tip number 8, appropriate sized rooms. Here I'm just showing some good sized rooms that you could maybe do whatever with. Anything bigger than this might be a little bit too big for a room, so I recommend sticking to the size of these rooms, because again, you don't want to have too much space left over when you are done with the build. It just makes it look empty. Bathroom sizes, bedroom sizes, living room sizes, you can use that for any of this. And then see how the bathroom was a little too big in this build, and this bedroom is perfectly sized because there's enough space for a bed, maybe a few decorations, a desk, a dresser, whatever you want to put in it. Anything else would be probably a little too big just for those items, but this one seemed to work really well with the size of it, the way I decorated it. So don't go too big with your builds. I know you might want to because you want to have a mansion, but you can have it bigger, just fill it up more. And it's just easier to have it smaller because then it's easier to fill up and it makes the build look nicer. Tip number 9, use the decals. What I mean by use the decals is really use the decals. Here I'm just showing some before and after for the decals. You can see how it just matched the color scheme more. It made it look so much nicer. It made the whole build just kind of, how do I say it, light up, or had a glow up, as some people would say. And it just made it look so much better. Tip number 10, be creative. Maybe because one style is really trending right now in Bloxburg doesn't mean you have to build in that style. You can go above and beyond that. You could try something completely new to you. For example, I don't really build modern houses because I don't know how to, but I'm going to try to build one. Just give it your best shot. You don't always need to do what other people are doing. You don't need to always build a house. You could build a store, you could build a town, whatever it is. Just be creative with your builds. That's going to be all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some of these tips helpful. Maybe give your house a glow up after this video. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I really liked the end product of this house. I think it turned out better than I expected based on what it was from the beginning. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next speed build video, tips video. I don't know.